Welcome to the Simply Be Found Huddle, where Dean and Rob talk about everything raw. You got Dean, the co-founder of Simply Be Found. You got myself, Robert Downey. If this is your first time joining us, welcome. If you've already seen one of our huddles before, welcome back. We really, truly appreciate it. But we talk about everything business and marketing and all kinds of different stuff. So, Dean, you said you have a topic for this morning.
Right.
So what's on your mind, boss?
So anyway, what I'm seeing a lot is I saw a roast, if you will, of a website, and they spent all the time talking about the aesthetics, and the aesthetics are important. They talked about how you read and everything that goes with it, but it's what you and I see. What a lot of people don't talk about. A lot of web designers. I mean, I've seen some beautiful sites out there, but there was no value to it, and we use the word schema in that to say, how do I get people to my site? And I in doing some research on that a little bit more, because I just want to understand, because I do want to talk in natural language to our members and the people when they have questions, because they may not, they don't understand why we collect some of the information, like your logo, your latitude and longitude and all that stuff. But it's all tied together. I mean, we keep talking about whenever we discuss things, we always talk about the interaction between the search engines and where you land and all that stuff. Can we talk about that a little bit more? I mean, let's get into some of it. I don't want to get technical, but we need to get people aware that it's not just the visuals that you see. It's really important to have that backside, and we've and we really need to talk about how people can evaluate that, how they can talk to their web designers and their hosting people, or if they're doing their own, they need to be aware of what they may be missing. Can you dive into that a little bit for me?
I definitely can. So, I mean, everything is all based on your data. Data is a huge aspect of everything inside of marketing. And that's why we talk a lot about, turning your data into advertising by using our tools. And there's all kinds of different data sets. So in your website, there's actual data pieces that are behind the scenes. So yes, having a website that is visually good. Most roasts, that's what they're looking at. They're looking to find out, is it following the X pattern? Does it look good on mobile? Is it telling your story? Is it bringing that user in to be able to cause conversions, which is a huge piece. But if you're not bringing them to the website, and the only way to bring someone to the website is either run ads or do organic SEO, which both of those all rely on data information, because everything is falling into the three pillars of marketing, which is going to be content, authority, and trust. So on the back end of your website, you can do what's called schema. You can do SEO. You can put all of your information in. There's tools out there. There's Rank Math. There's all kinds of different SEO tools. If you're using WordPress, GoDaddy has their set for their site builder. Wix has their site for it. But your schema is extremely important. And using local business schema, if you're a local business, is going to matter more than anything else that's out there, because you can stack that information. So I'm going to use this as the example on that. You come into simplybefound.com, you're going to use the listings engine, you register your business everywhere. This data gets all set up. You can ask us for the schema. We'll provide you the schema code of some recommendations there based on that information. You can hand that over to your web developer, or you can enter it yourself or get advice of how to enter it yourself. Depends on what you're doing. That's all part of the coaching plan. We originally weren't going to include that in the coaching plan, but I think we do. We've made some different changes for how we tweak stuff out. I think it's going to be there. So if you listen to this video, say, hey, I listened to this video, it's included. But it's one of those things to where you can take all that schema, and if it matches your profile. So now you entered all that information on listings engine. You have it entered on your website. So now it can do a confirmation. So it's going to build authority and trust, because you just connected those two things together. And if they're a mismatch and your website doesn't have that on there, it's going to have a lower authority. Now, this kind of fits into the whole entire topic of, is your profiles being considered spam by all the different networks? It could be if it's not matching your website. And this is where barbers and massage places and beauticians and all those, that side is really getting garbled up, because they're using services like Booksy as well. And Booksy is actually hurting them when I did that research for one of the barbers that was having a hard time getting all the way fit in this week, I found that Booksy was hurting because he couldn't match that data. So that barber had all of his information inside the listings engine, right? But it couldn't verify his website so he has a website inside of there, and it's causing a conflict because it can't verify that. So he's not getting as high a score if you were to put a score system onto it because of that data connection. So your data is super important. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it really does. And yeah, but we're talking about the landing page or the home page, if you will, of the schema. But what a lot of people don't understand that every page has its own set of schema information as well. And so you may have somebody that you may go in and look at that, especially if you have like city pages. And we talk about city pages as being a way to give more definitions to cover a bigger, broader area.
Yep.
But what a lot of people I'm seeing is they go in, they create these things, but then there's no schema on their additional pages, their services, their products. Especially if they do e-commerce, they don't have any schema on their e-commerce page either. And but can you put the word schema into simple language? I mean, let's talk. There's not really, I mean, it's kind of like schema is what it is. I don't know if you can really redefine it, except for it's the data set that's necessary to match your website to a search.
Schema is the new meta words. Schema is what tells that search engine what different data points are for the website. Your local business schema, that's going to tell it who you are, what your information is, your logo, your latitude, your longitude, your address, your hours, all those different things. But then there's other schemas. There's thousands of different schemas that are out there that you can do. You can use schema for telling the search engine, this is going to be answers to questions, which is how you do answer engine optimization, which is called AEO. So when you start stacking that up, you're telling that search engine, this is what this piece of data is right here, and this is why you should look at it and how you could use it. So have you ever done a Google search before, Dean, and it pops up an answer to a question?
I don't know off the top of my head if I've seen that, but
so I'm sure I have. When you do a search, it'll actually give you a list of questions, and if you click on them, it'll show you the answer from different websites.
Yeah, I've seen that. Yes, okay. I didn't understand your question. So to answer your question, yes, I have seen that.
So that pulls that information from schema to be able to put that in there most of the time, or it's making a decision. Schema makes it to where that computer is not making the decision of what that information is, so it doesn't get it wrong as much. And I mean, search is very smart when it comes through. These algorithms have gotten a lot smarter with AI and all the different stuff that's out there. But this just gives that level where you have some control over your data from your website.
Right. So the other thing I'm starting to see, Rob, well, let's talk about this for a second. You talked about the questions. Mm-hmm. If I'm using my mobile device and I'm using something where I'm doing a voice search like Siri with my iPhone or whatever it is, have you noticed if the question is long enough, it says, would you like to use ChatGPT to find the answer to that? Have you seen that? Have you experienced that?
So that's a new function from Apple. They partnered up with ChatGPT to do it. Inside of your settings, if you have an iPhone, you can actually put in your ChatGPT account if you have one, or you could use the free version. But it allows you to be able to use AI by voice to be able to do searches. That's why we're seeing so much more search happening for local businesses, happening from AI. Even for some of the big e-commerce sites that we work with, they're utilizing AI to find those websites. AI is going to be the new search, and it's what's flipped Google upside down and what's made Google dead as we know it, as I've said in previous conversations. But I mean, it's flipped everything completely upside down. So you have that. You have Gemini inside of Android phones. You have ChatGPT Direct. I mean, I can go inside of ChatGPT on my phone for the app and ask it a question. It'll have a complete voice conversation with me.
Right. And so, and that gets right back to the thing. If your scheme on your website doesn't match, your content on your website isn't current, that AI is not going to find you, especially if your business information doesn't match up to the networks. So it's all tied. God, we say this all the time. It's all tied together. I mean, it isn't just one thing like it used to be. You have a website and they will come. That's gone. I mean, just because you
it's
have
out, it's out the door.
Yeah, I mean, and the idea of that,
the dreams movement.
Yeah, but the concept of a website is just a business page. I still hear that from some web developers. Oh, it's just a business page that tells about you. It's become more than that again. I mean, at one time that was a true statement, but now it is not because of the way that search engines and the algorithms are working with artificial intelligence, the questions, the AEO that you're talking about, the answer optimization engine kind of thing. Did I say that right?
Yep.
Okay.
Good job.
I don't like to use algorithms, everybody, acronyms. Because I get messed up, and then I go.
ULR.
I go
instead of URL.
I'm doing the old McDonald's song pretty soon because of acronyms. So
Well, it's because you have too many acronyms after your name.
yeah,
But so I mean, if you look at it, so you have the data side that ends up going through, that ends up adding to your website. So you have all this data that gets added to the website. You have all these data connections that are all connected together. We're not talking about the one thing that also ties into that we push a lot, and that's your social media.
Right.
So I was doing an entire study this morning on LinkedIn, and I think LinkedIn has a connection to AI, and I think LinkedIn has a connection to voice search, and I think. I know for sure Facebook does for business pages. So if any of that public information that's out there is called scrapable information, it's able to come in, it's able to scrape it. So I mean, using social media, you should be posting everywhere. It's why we have the social media suite. You can from one place, you can post to all of your places if you want. You can change it between each of those networks, but it's one of those things to where your social media is another data point to be able to talk about you. It builds in that content piece. It builds authority. It builds trust, just like your blog. But you can also use your LinkedIn blog on your personal page. You can post articles inside of there. Those are public information. Cortana loves that. Right. And I never thought about LinkedIn until we have a guest that's going to be coming on here soon onto the podcast, I believe, or the Huddle, that's going to be talking about LinkedIn. And I was just kind of playing around with some different data sets and really dived into that. But everything is connected. So the more you put out there on the web that is natural language, the better off you're going to be.
Oh, I got you. I agree with you 100%. I mean, the stories that we need to tell about our business and get that information out there. I mean, I love the idea that story is not dead, but the problem is people need to be able to just talk about what they do, and it doesn't have to be complex either. It just has to have the data points, but don't get into stuffing your data either. No. I mean, I know that's another topic altogether, but you gotta be careful not to do lists and things like that inside your information.
That is going to be major spam when you do that. That's why you have to bring the natural language in. Right. So once you bring that natural language in, you learn how to be able to do the natural language, you're going to be able to thrive inside of any market. Because when you do this, okay, so let's talk about our environment real quick. You have the listings engine. You're now sending that data out. You asked your coach, you put that right schema on your website. So now you have that part. You're working with your web developer, you're doing blogs, and you're doing all that stuff, and you're making those two kind of go together. Let's say that you are also doing your social media. So you're now putting, you're putting all your information out there, you're being consistent there. Not only do each of these networks that you're going to have different sets of eyeballs. I'm going to go back to the eyeball piece.
Yeah, I like it.
But now you're talking to all of the algorithms, and you're doing it for a reason to be able to communicate with your potential customers, which is going to drive more leads. It's going to drive more sales, and that's going to be what equals your results. And now this sounds like a big, complicated piece, but once you get the listings engine basically tuned up, it's the marketing coaching piece that you need to be making the most of.
Right.
And inside of the social media side, if you have that with us, you can ask us, what's some suggestions of posts? We'll send you suggestions of posts. We'll give you ideas. You can do the social media side in less than an hour a week and schedule your whole week out. You can then turn those into blogs if you want, because when we give those social media posts, we're actually going to tell you, hey, this is how we're going to tie that into your blogging. There's all these pieces. And if you utilize all the chats that are all the different AIs that are out there, and you follow our coaching, I say it's less than an hour a week for maybe an hour and a half to be able to do blogging, to do your social media, to do your listings piece. That's going to bring business in. But a lot of businesses out there that we talk to do not, they come back to that same story of, I'm not tech savvy. I don't have time. I don't have this. I don't have that. And that is why your marketing coach can help you be able to do that. We won't do the things for you, but we can definitely guide you to be able to help you. What advice do you have for business owners, Dean, on that topic of, I don't have time, I'm not tech savvy, and I don't know where to start?
Well, first off, I'm, if you will, you've called me this before. I am the reason why we exist, because I had all those same issues. I find that even though I'm a busy person, I'm trying to take care of all my business. I take care of my customers, do quotes, all those things. I still find that I have a couple hours a week that are kind of like downtime, like, okay, now what do I do? Okay, I need more customers. It isn't really hard. I mean, you got to, but the big thing is getting a habit started. And getting a routine started. I mean, you start off this week, and go, okay, I'm going to do this, and then you get hung up and you don't get everything done. But next week, get on it again. I mean, it takes a while to get that routine, but but our platform makes. I mean, once you get your listings engine piece in, you get all that data in. You don't have to really be tuning that up unless you're making changes to your business, or you say, hey, I'm trying to get a little more traction. You reach out to our marketing coaches, and everybody says, what makes you guys different than everybody else? And it's the fact that you can reach out to us and we'll help you. I mean, there's a lot of people out there that are doing everything, do the things we do. We provide the marketing coaches. You're looking at the two guys that are going to be talking to you 100% of the time. We have teams behind us that help us with our data work, but you don't have to do that piece. I mean, you don't have to be tech savvy. You just have to be able to type on your computer, do an entry, and hit send.
Yep.
I mean that it's really not that hard. I mean, and most business owners have that ability to do that. And so I get the point of, I'm not tech savvy. You're not.
You're not alone.
Yeah. So that's exactly right. The only thing that might be a little bit trickier is when we talk about the schema information, but then you have to have a professional help you. But I know a lot of business owners that do their own websites and they go, oh, I know exactly what to do. I've seen that. I just didn't understand what I needed to put in there.
I like the business owners that send a screenshot. Are you talking about this? Yes, that's exactly what I'm talking about. And here's exactly how you fill that in. Oh, great. I had no idea what that was. Great.
Right. Exactly. And even though we make recommendations that is what you need to be doing, do the best you can. That's all I can tell you is do the best you can. The more you do it, the better you're going to be for that pairing up. But something's better than nothing. I mean, kind of thing.
Exactly.
And that's where a lot of business owners go. But when people say, "Oh, my calls have gone down," well, have you done this? And just say, "Okay, calls are down, so therefore." You can do a couple things. You can do cold calling, you can do cold emails, but you get a lot more value out of the organic process with the social media and working on your blogs and improving your website.
Correct. And the whole piece is when your call volume is down, when your sales are down, you have a little bit of downtime. Take that effort to be able to make in some organic and plan out for when you're busy and kind of get yourself stacked up to where you can get all that stuff done.
Right.
And utilize us and say, hey, what should I be doing right now? I'm not getting the phone calls. But just coming in and hoping for a prayer and putting it out there one time and not doing any of the social media, you're not going to get the results like your competition that are doing everything.
Right, exactly. And I'm gonna pick on a couple of people who have come in and said, I only have 2 weeks. If I don't have improved business in 2 weeks, I'm not going to make it. Well, everybody, I love you. I wish you the very best. But what we do takes longer than 2 weeks.
Right.
I mean,
go put some money into an ad campaign because we're not going to be the right fit for you.
Right, exactly. But if you're looking at the long-term play and being there, we are the answer for that. I mean, we really make that difference with the organic process. And I really struggle with, I really feel bad for the business owners who've gotten to that situation, but they need to understand that they need to do that. But you're right. You need to do an ad, something that's going to give you a push. But organically, we are there. We're the powerhouse in that. I like to say that we are a powerhouse in that.
Yeah.
Because we provide that information. We keep pushing it out there for you. And the coaching piece is invaluable. to business owners that are, because a lot of them, they know their stuff. They just don't know how to verbalize or how to write some things sometimes. And that's where our coaching piece comes in.
Exactly. And like you said, you and I are the ones that do 100% of the coaching. I don't know of another business out there where somebody has thousands of different members that are inside of a system that has two founders that are doing that. You usually get handed off to some account manager that's never really worked a day in their life inside of a business. They really don't understand it. They've never done the marketing side. You and I are the yin and the yang to be able to kind of make us equal out. But it's our team that really makes that possible. Exactly. I mean, we have an amazing team that's behind us that makes it all happen. And we have some great tools and we have some great AI. We have access to more data than I can even amount to even start talking about. So, I mean, if they want to be able to grow their business, they want to be able to take their business to that next level, that's definitely something you have to do, is to be able to start talking to the members. And we're making lots of changes to what we're offering for everything. And that's probably the biggest difference between us two, is that we're able to pivot. We see the different things that are happening. We call different stuff out. I wish, I mean, it's one of those things to where we need to talk more about what our predictions are, because we're right a lot of the times because we're seeing the data. Sometimes we see it before I think some of the bigger corporations do, because they can't see behind it, because we've been doing it this way for this long and this is the way to do it. Well, the world's changed and the world is continuously changing.
Right. And the thing is, when you talk about we have predictions, because we're always looking at information, trends, data. And you made a call yesterday on something. I don't want to talk about it, what we talked about, but we're seeing it today. You made this prediction about what's going to happen with in the United States, and we're starting to see that right now.
Well, I mean, the whole thing that we were going to talk, that I made the prediction on, that I was like, hey, I'd say called that one, was on the whole entire thing for the Dodge project and Elon Musk. I knew that they were going to have to make that whole play and say, hey, guess what? We should give back to the United States people, because, I mean, it's just is what it is. But you and I track data. I track data on the finance side because it's my background.
Right.
I did that for a really long time for data analysis and how all that side is. Well, all that same stuff still plays in, because I see all the data that comes in from Google. I see the data that comes from Bing. I see all the data that's there. Alexa, I wish would put something out there. So if Amazon's listening, I would love to sit down in a boardroom with you and just tell you what I think you should do, because I think you have an amazing product, but you need to be able to put a directory behind it. And I'd love to have that conversation. Same with Microsoft. I'd love to get in a room with them, because they're missing out on the opportunity.
Oh, yes.
In so many different aspects. But it's one of those things, as a small business owner, any kind of business owner, doesn't matter. I was talking to a big corporation the other day, and they're talking about wanting me to come in and do a huge exclusive conversation and training for how local SEO and how data's broke down and all those pieces, which is services that we don't really advertise, but we do them all the time.
Right, exactly.
Which allows us to then see a broader piece of data. We can't talk about that data, but we get to see that data of what's working for the big boys.
Right, and then we have an NDA that we usually have to do with that stuff, where we can't talk about it. But it's humbling to me that people actually look at you and I and go, "Hey, we've got people that are interested in what we have to say," because we come from two different backgrounds. And we have a unique concept. You and I both believe in family first, and that's the way most small business people are. In fact, we had a new member sign up a couple days ago, I think. And I ended up you started a conversation with him, helping with some coaching, and you had to go do something with your family. And then I got on
school run.
Yeah, well, that's right. It was a school run.
I picked up girls from school.
Right, and I responded to it. And the guy goes, "Oh, wow, I get both owners on the same conversation." I said, well, yeah, I pay attention to what's happening. When Rob says I'm off, I take over, and vice versa. I mean, we cover for each other. And you may get Rob sometimes, you may get me sometimes, you may get both of us, because I'll look at it and you'll look at it and go, Dean is going down. I don't think he's reading the question right. And you'll jump in and say, is this what you really want? And sometimes that's right. Sometimes it's not. But that's what everybody goes, how do you compare to these other people? You and I are the difference. Our coaching is the difference. Our data team is the difference. We don't have all the reports, fancy reports and things like that, but we results are what we're after with small business. And And
I mean, it goes to that same thing. I don't know very many co-founders that are making responses to a company like what we have into our members while making breakfast. And I'll straight up say that. I'll be like, hey, I'm making breakfast right now for my kids. Wanted to get to you so that way you weren't waiting. Here's my thoughts. I'm going to have to look at that later and be able to dive into it. I mean, that's the kind of conversations you're going to get with us.
Right, exactly. So anyway, I think we kind of beat up the whole website.
Come on, you don't want to say beat up the horse today?
I didn't say that. We're not gonna do let's not get the PETA people excited again today.
Oh, come on. I mean, I had all kinds of comments the other day when I said there's 1,000 ways to skin a cat.
Yeah, I'm sure you did because of
I love a cat. I'm surprised I left my door open. I was waiting for my cat to come join me.
In your office, probably, right? Right now, or just the kid?
No, my door's even open. I forgot to shut it because we decided to record this just on the whim. And so my door's open back there. And I'm really surprised one of the cats aren't in here because the kids went off to school. And yeah, that's.
And so my dog is usually laying behind me, and she's back there right now. So, and when I used to have cats, the cat would be on my lap and be walking across the keyboard right now. So
somebody got a response from me the other day on support talking about funny things in cats. A bunch of all these letters. And the cat sent it. I left my computer unlocked. I went to the bathroom, came back. She's laying on here, and there's the whole entire set of response. I'm like, I'm really sorry.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I didn't see that chat come through. So anyway, Rob, I think we've covered everything we.
All right, sounds good. And if you ever want to join this, you ever want to get your website roasted, you want to have us look at any of that, we're going to be putting some stuff up on the website. It's not up yet, but we're going to have it on there where you can request a roast. And we'll look at it from a data aspect. We'll tell you where you're sitting. We don't use any tools to be able to do local SEO checks or any of that. We look at it from what we see and from our expertise inside of there. So you're not going to get these fancy reports. You're not going to get these BS sales reports that go out and look at those data. You're going to get Dean and I's eyes or one of our eyes on your data, on your website. We're going to look at it from a design aspect. We're going to look at it from a data aspect. We're going to look at your social media. We're going to see if you are making everything connect. Because remember, inside of the world of marketing, you have three different pillars. You have content, authority, and trust. And if you're not doing all of those by registering your business in the right spots, including voice search and AI, and also doing social media and also doing the stuff on your website, you are going to be left behind. So remember that if you're looking for more leads, more sales, make sure you dive into that a little bit deeper. My name's Rob. I'm one of the co-founders here at Simply Be Found.
And I'm the other guy, Dean, the other co-founder. Anyway, thanks for joining us today.
Thank you. Have a great day.